Good evening and welcome to the Trentino region of Italy for the latest round of the IFSC Speed World Cups. I'm Charlie Bosco, alongside me this evening is Ahmed Torri, and we are live from the Italian town of Arco. Having hosted international climbing competitions for 30 years and home to literally thousands of sport climbs, Arco should be on the hit list for any climber. The town is nestled in the mountains of the Trentino region of Italy and sits just a few kilometres from the shore of Lake Garda. It is home to 18,000 people. The town sits at just 91 metres above sea level, meaning that conditions this week have been extremely hot at times. But luckily, the evening has arrived and conditions are improving by the minute for speed climbing. Ahmed, you joined me earlier on for the semi-finals of the lead. Have you had a chance to chill out, had a gelato, had a cappuccino?
Yeah, no, I had myself a sandwich and some cappuccino a little earlier. I'm going to try some gelato as soon as we're done here. But I'm really excited about that. I hear it's a little sweeter than our ice cream over in the States.
So you're refreshed and ready for another bout of live streaming on the IFSC?
Absolutely.
So you're a multi-discipline athlete, but we heard earlier in the semi-finals that you, I guess, specialise in speed. Just tell our viewers a little bit about yourself before we get stuck into the competition.
Yeah, so I climb speed, at least a little over here in Arco. Competed a little earlier. Didn't quite make it, so glad to be over here commentating. But speed climbing is very simple. It's you got two routes. They're the exact same. You've got the exact same angle. You got the exact same holds. And you got two of them. Two climbers are going to go at the exact same time. They'll race up the wall. Whoever gets to the top, they move on.
Speaking of which, already the first climbers are out. They didn't waste any time there. We've got Julia Caplina on the left and Andrea Rojas of Ecuador on the right. We haven't seen a lot of Andrea yet this season. Julia, regular viewers will know well.
That's right. Now the Russians are very disciplined in the speed climbing. Sometimes training with blindfolds. I hear it's crazy. Let's see how she does.
There they go. Both away cleanly, but it's Caplina opens up an early lead.
Julia. Oh.
No problem for Julia Caplina.
Very comfortable run. Very comfortable run. Good time as well.
And I know this is a question you won't like, but I'm going to ask it anyway. People want to know what the grade of the speed climbing route is. I know it's not really relevant, but just so people can get a grasp of the route.
I've heard different things. It's I would say it's definitely no harder than 10B, 10A. Maybe a little easier than that. Some would say, but I'll go ahead and stick with the 10A.
So in European money, that's about 6B?
Yeah, that's right. So not a difficult climb, but it becomes way more complicated when you're going for a time as opposed to just completion. And it makes the stakes even higher just knowing there's somebody right next to you. So it can be kind of nerve-wracking, but that's what the sport demands. And here we go again.
Saracen on the left, Chudziak on the right. Both away first time. Saracen opens up an early lead and Chudziak slips early down. Saracen should just bring this home easily enough. She does.
Another sub-9. Very good.
Yeah, good time for this stage of the competition from Saracen. Well, remember, it's always head-to-head speed climbing. So you don't necessarily need to climb the fastest time. You just need to beat the person next to you.
That's right.
Nice seat, handshake between the competitors. Next out, we're going to have Alexandra Rudzinska and Alma Renic. Both of these two you would expect to see in the latter stages, but we're going to lose one of them early on.
And as you can see, they're moving over the pad, the little sensor at the very bottom there. Everybody is different heights and everything when it comes to speed climbing. So moving that pad just ensures that they're going to get off the best start they possibly can. And then after that, it's all up to them.
So Rudzinska's on the left, Renic on the right. A slightly sluggish start from both.
A little bit, yeah.
They're close at this stage, but it's Rzinska with a small lead.
Slight lead, and boom. Yeah.
Another time just under 9 for Rzinska. So Marenic, who, as I said, we might have expected to see slightly later on, already gone.
I'm glad Ala actually got the pad. It looked like she missed it there for a second.
Yeah, of course, remember that the time only stops once you push the timing pad, and if you don't push it in the right place, you don't push it hard enough, your time doesn't stop.
That's right.
A bit like the long jump in the Olympics, when if you walk back through the pit, you're going to record
right.
a pretty short jump. See there the familiar face of Edita Ropek. She'll be climbing on the left-hand wall against Svetlana Motov-Ilova. So for people that might be new to speed climbing,
yes,
just explain what the skill set is the climbers practice, because obviously they know this route inside out. Where does the progression come from? How do you get better at speed climbing? Is it learning the route? Is it technique, power?
Learning the route, getting mentally, it's a real challenge, I would say, because you only get a few runs, especially in the qualifiers. So we only got 2 that actually counted. So if you don't perform on those two runs, then you can easily not make it into qualifiers.
And
so there we go.
I was about to say, with perfect timing, Edita Ropek, a veteran of the sport, made 2 slips just as you were explaining that.
Exactly.
In the qualification, you get 2 shots. In the final, you only get 1. And
so the
Ropek is already out.
Yeah, the pressure is on when it comes to speed climbing, and you feel it. And really, you can learn the route all you want, but if you can't deal with that pressure, like in the moment, whenever you're about to compete when it's just on the waiver wire, that's it. That can make or break your entire competition right there.
We've got Claudia Bukcic here on the left and Elisabetta Dalla Brida of Italy on the right. See you there.
I saw her in qualifiers earlier, and she seemed very excited about her time there. I'm excited to see what she's going to come up with here.
Very young Bukcic, almost 10 years older. Will experience or youth count? Bukcic was moving a lot on the starting blocks there, but it's been rewarded with a good start, and I think she's going to hold on to that. In the end, she didn't need to push too hard.
No. Looked very comfortable.
And we were in the live stream for the semi-finals earlier. We were talking about the moves to the Olympics. What sort of training can lead climbers and boulders expect to need to do if they're going to learn speed climbing? Is it just the route, or are they going to have to incorporate Olympic lifts, power?
Yeah, they're going to have to definitely incorporate a few drills in there. Like me, myself, I incorporate a lot of jumps. So my style on the speed wile is very, very dynamic. I'm less, as you can see, the women right now, they're going, from hold to hold, really getting their feet up and going to, they're touching most of the holds. Whereas me, my style is more bear-like. I'm just thugging it up the wall. But because I can jump fairly high, each move seems to count a little bit more, and it pays off. Not today, but it pays off.
And we can see there, bit of a surprise result in that one. Nina Lack's been climbing really well this year.
Yeah.
Bakshieva's not too bad herself, been pretty handy this year, but I would have quite fancied Nina Lack for that one. Let's have another look. Held the lead, but it was a pretty convincing win by the top. Next out we'll have Anouk Gilbert. No woman has ever won 3 Speed World Cups in a row. Anouk Gilbert could do it tonight. Chamonix and Villars she won 4 days apart. First thing, she's got to beat Alexandra Elmer. She switched just before she set off, but it's given her a great start, and she's powering away here. This is going to be an easy win unless there's a slip. There is not. No problem for Anouk Joubert. I saw her this morning walking around Arco. She's in very good spirits, very light-hearted, as you might expect, for someone that's coming off the back of 2 World Cups in a row. And there she is, very relaxed.
Yeah.
Didn't really need to push it out that time. When you're speed climbing, are you aware of where your opponent is?
Yeah, especially, you're making a lot of noise on the wall, so you can definitely hear that. You can see them out of the corner of your eye. It's probably best not to pay attention and really focus on what you're doing, but when it's head-to-head like this, sometimes you just can't help yourself. So it's best to definitely concentrate on what you're doing, but it can also be a little confidence boost if you see your opponent's head a little further down and below you.
We see there Anna Brozak on the left. She's been climbing really well this year, but she's got to beat Victoire Andrier on the right. And already this one is tight, but there's a slip early on from Andrier, and I don't think going to recover that home. Yes, doesn't need to push it. Still 8.6. She wasn't hanging about. And that is already the last race of this initial round of 16 in the women's competition.
Speed climbing, it is quick, hence the name.
It's all in the name. Brozak not too troubled there. She's had a good season so far.
Yeah. Good sports all around.
And sorry, go ahead.
No, it's. I like seeing that just because speed climbers, they know how fickle, your runs can be. One slip and it could be all over. And no matter how experienced you are, like I said earlier, you can always mess up. You can always mess up. You put your foot to like a centimeter too far to the left or to the right, and you slip, and it's all over. So it's nice to see that they're all good sports about it all.
Don't forget, as ever, if you'd like to get in touch with us during this evening's speed final, you can get on Twitter, #IFSCWC.
Send us your questions.
Alongside me. Yes, exactly. Send your questions. We had some good ones in the semi-finals. More about speed climbing, please. Marcin Zienski here. He's on the left. He's not Anna Brozak. He's Marcin Zienski on the right.
And we have a false start.
On the right, Rafael Halas. So that was an incredibly early start.
Very early.
Start.
Yeah.
But almost wonder if he didn't quite hear one of the beeps or some of the instructions. That was very early.
Yeah. Huh. That was very odd. But he's got another, so we'll see what happens here.
So Zienski on the left can join the elite group of people that have won 3 World Cups in a year in speed if he wins here tonight. And he's made a good start, and he's already beginning to pull away. You can see his speed. No problem.
So that right there was actually a very perfect example of 2 very different techniques. Obviously there's a height difference going on over there, so you can see while, like over to the right, he's making, he's making plenty of moves and everything, but not quite as much as Marcin. So Marcin was able to just go a tad quicker. He needs to do that because he's so short, or shorter. But it paid off. His quick movements.
Yeah, he's quite unusual among sport climbers. If you think about Libor Harosa, Daniel Boldirev, even Reza Aliposhane. Well, Reza Aliposhane is a bit shorter, but they're all quite big guys. And Marcin, who's won the past 2 World Cups, is that bit smaller, but his technique is so dynamic.
Exactly. Yeah, like we were saying earlier in the semifinal, when it comes to speed climbing, having muscle will not hold you back, especially if you're not as tall.
Well, as you can see here is Shilov, who's clearly the bigger climber, is beaten, albeit quite narrowly, 1/10 of a second, by Guillaume Moreau of France. And beyond, you were talking earlier about your, you jump in training. what else can you do to try and develop that explosiveness that we see from someone like Martin Zienski? Is it just weights?
Yeah, not necessarily weights. I feel like muscle ups are a really good way of training for speed. That way it's just you're keeping your body mass like kind of light. Especially if you're a taller person, you definitely don't want too much muscle going on there, because then you're just heavy. You're just heavier than you already are, and slowing yourself down. And being tall definitely helps. You can skip certain holds and do a very unique beta. But I would say as a shorter person, developing that arm strength is definitely helpful. And then also developing like your legs, just by doing box jumps or squats, that could be very helpful as well.
Shikov on the left here, Jan Kriz on the right, and this is a bit tighter than you might have expected. Shikov the favourite, and he does take it, but be interested to see a replay of Kriz there.
As you can see, he's disappointed in that run. Like I said, you can slip at any time, and that's exactly what happened.
Let's have another look at this. Where was the slip? There it was.
Right there on the left foot.
Yeah.
Didn't get quite high enough on the ball. And, paid for it.
We will, of course, see his compatriot Libor Harosa a bit later on. Jan Kriz's compatriot, I should say. Libor, I believe, carrying a small injury to his tricep, nothing serious. We hope it doesn't hold him back though. He's one of the leading speed competitors.
Leonardo Giantero from Italy.
Against Bogomolov of Russia on the right. It's Gontero who got the better start, but Bogomolov's already reining him in. This is going to be tight.
Oh!
They're tied for time.
And we've got a tie.
That looked close all the way.
That was so close.
Lead changed hands several times there.
And they kind of switched off as they went about it. Oh man, that is tight.
That is really tight. And we couldn't spot it with the slow motion replay.
Yeah.
It doesn't look as if it's been made very clear just yet.
They may have to go again.
I suspect they might rerun that at the end of the round. We shall see. As I say, normally, even when we got really close races, you can
they're
see
at least
on
a hundredth of a second apart.
Yeah, you can see them on our slow motion replay. And no, nothing showed up. That looked pretty much a dead heat. We shall see. I think they've been sent back in and we'll be asked to rerun that. We will check that for you. We see here, closest to the camera, there he is, Daniel Bolirov, the current world record holder in the speed climbing. He'll be taking on Ludovico Fossali of Italy. Bolirov, the clear favourite here. But this season he's blown a bit hot and cold. Sometimes he's been on form, other weeks he's been absent.
See how he does here.
So, good
and
start.
Bolirov has a good start.
Yep.
And 6 flat, very good.
6 flat, good time. You had to work harder for it than you might have thought.
Yeah.
Fossali has been posting some good times recently, including qualifying.
6:06.
Don't forget, if you'd like to know more about sport climbing, which is going to be very much part of the Olympic program, get on Twitter, #IFSCWC. Putting in a real shift today, Ahmad Torre, who's on his second live stream of the day, fueled only by espressos and gelato.
Oh, gelato later. Sandwiches.
And sandwiches.
Yeah.
Parma ham sandwiches.
Yeah, a little, a caprese and, prosciutto sandwich. Delicious.
Making me hungry.
Ah.
Now here's two of the climbers we might expect to see later on, certainly at least in the round of 8. Stanislav Kokorin on the left, Libor Harosa on the right. As I say, Harosa carrying a Very slight tricep injury. We shall see if it holds him back. He's certainly a bit sluggish out the blocks, but he's reining Kokorin in, and the longer this goes on, Rosa looks more like the favourite.
Oh, let's see what we got here.
Yeah,
and that'll be a Libor.
Just Libor.
4/100ths of a second. Wow.
As they flash past the camera, past the timing system, then we were just able to see the time. Libor Rosa got that by 4/100ths of a second.
Very close.
Got a question from Twitter from John.
Yeah.
Hi, John. He wants to know how the belaying works, because the belayers are just off shot.
So the belayers, they're going to be 2, actually. One
two
is
per climber.
Yeah, 2 per climber. Yeah. So you're going to have somebody harnessed in, and they're going to be pulling the slack that is directly attached to the climber, and then you'll have a second person at the dead end of the rope pulling the rope through the griggery. So it's a 2-person operation, and it's really the only way they can pull fast enough, besides running as fast as they can the other way. Yeah, but that's there's not a lot of room for that here.
No, we're fairly closed in here in Arco. Already on to our next race. Got Bassa Marwem on the left against Alessandro Santoni on the right. And Marwem, a really dynamic climber, and he flew out of the blocks there, and he's opening up a lead. This should be an easy enough win. Yes, goes under 6 seconds.
Good run for Bassa.
First man under 6 seconds today, only just, but he's under there.
It's funny, I met him in qualifiers, and he came by and just offered, wish me luck. And I speak a little French, so I answered back. I said, "Yeah, bonne chance," and seemed a little like, "Oh," it's like, okay, speak French. That's cool. That makes things easier. Yeah.
Speaking of France, we've got Quentin Nambo out right. On the left, Konstantin Pavlenko, the Ukraine. The winner of this will meet Bassa Marwem, so it could be France against France in the round of 8.
That's right.
Pavlenko on the left, Nambo on the right. And Pavlenko flew out the block, sluggish shot from Nambo, but a slip from Pavlenko is going to give Nambo this one, I believe. It is. Pavlenko furious with himself.
Yep, one little slip and it's all over.
Yeah, he was slow out the blocks there, Nambo, but
managed to keep it together. Sometimes, sometimes consistency, can beat speed.
Yes, so now we'll have a rerun of the Bogomolov and Gontero race. It was a dead heat earlier on.
Still can't believe that.
No, I don't. I'm just trying to think when we haven't had a dead heat yet this year. I know that.
Yeah, I've never seen one.
I'm trying to think when the last time I saw one was. We shall see. Second chance for Leonardo Gontero on the left and Arseny Bogomolov on the right. It's Gontero with a better start, but I don't know if he's going to hold on to his early lead. This is going to be tight again. Gontero wins it by
2/100ths of a second.
2/100ths of a second. So over 2 races, they were separated by 2/100ths of a second. Extraordinary. Two 100ths of a second. That over 2 races on a rerun. That's got to be some sort of record.
Yeah, that's amazing.
The tightest round of 16 race. So we'll just run you through. Next up will be the women's round of 8. And we'll start off with Yulia Kaplina against Aurelia Sarasov, France. Alexandra Rudzinska will then take on Adita Ropek. Claudia Bukchek will then take on Elena Markusheva. And Anouk Jobert, going for 3 wins in a row, is going to take on Anna Brozek. See there, the wall just being prepared. How do you recover? Because the explosive effort of something like speed climbing is, I guess, comparable to a 100-meter sprint. What do the climbers do to try and recover in between rounds?
Really, I mean, you do have a little bit of time, I guess, when it comes head-to-head, you know, so, and you're on the wall for such a little amount of time. Like cardio, I guess, is a big part of the speed climbing as well, so I do some running as well when it comes to speed climbing. That way it just helps out. I can bring my heart rate down a little bit before my next run. But, yeah, in this head-to-head style, they do have quite a bit of time before they have to go again. So it gets a little bit narrower as the further we go. You know, so we'll have we'll just have 3 runs on the next go, and then we'll have our final. So, but these athletes, they do it over and over and over again to practice as well. So, you know, they're used to doing the wall at least 3-4 times, one right after the other.
They'll literally lower back down and go again.
Oh yeah.
Oh
yeah, like me myself, I never do less than 3 in a row whenever I'm training.
And when you say in a row, you're literally, your feet touch the ground, you get back in your position, go.
Go again. That's just like that.
And Marcin Zienski just wandering past us. Of course, the speed athletes aren't in isolation, so we're used to in lead and boulder that the climbers who haven't yet had their turn on the wall are in the isolation area, so they can't see what they've got to take on. But of course, the speed climbers know every move off by heart, so they can wander around freely. Marcin Zienski safely through after beating Rafał Halasa of Poland, and as I say, just wandered past us. Very relaxed. You can see here that incredible stadium complex here in Arco. Earlier on this morning, and had Ahmed alongside me. We had the men climbing on that right-hand grey and white wall, and then the women were on the left-hand side on the big yellow wall, now marked with the huge pink volume. If you're wondering why the walls haven't yet been labelled for the lead final, why they don't yet told the public whether the women will be on the left or the right, it's because route setters want to keep that information private until all the athletes are safely in isolation area and they can't get any beta on their climb. So that's why you can't see any signs saying men's final and women's final.
I'm anxious to see what the final has in store for us. Semis was, pretty interesting. Yeah, we had some people just kind of fall a little early. Yeah, we'll see how they cope with the final this time.
Adam Undra snuck in. That was probably the one that stands out. Guti Zupra, he'll be missing from this lead final tonight. But you can finally chill out. You don't need to come on the live stream for the final.
I'm going to have my gelato then. I'm going to have my
And then we can confirm Marcin Zienski through. He's just walked past us again. Just to let you know, the podium ceremony for this Speed World Cup will take place after the lead podium this evening, so it won't be part of this broadcast, but if you watch our lead final later on, you will see the podium for this Speed World Cup. So on the left here, we've got Yulia Kaplina. She beat Andrea Rocha earlier on, and Aurelia Sarason, who beat Patricia Chudziak in the round of 16, is on the right.
And Sarason with a good start. Let's see if she can keep it up.
Kaplina was slightly sluggish out the blocks, but she's more than made it up, and it ends up being quite a comfortable victory for Yulia Kaplina.
Like you said, very sluggish start first, but really, really picked it up when it came into the middle.
Kaplina just perhaps commenting about the
it looks like,
positioning of some of the holes.
I wonder what she's looking at specifically here. Brought an official on there. Let's see what happens.
So the judge is all on stage now.
Maybe we had a little movement going on.
Well,
I'm betting that's the case. I think maybe we had a little spin going on.
We'll let you know very shortly. Just dispatched somebody. There's Graham Alderson. You can see him closest to the wall, just below and right of the letter A. He's our technical delegate this weekend. Angelo, the organiser of the Arco event for the last 30 years, is there in the foreground. And there's our crowd. Something tells me they don't mind the delay as much as they might if it was raining. Sun's finally
Or
disappeared
sunny.
off the well, or sunny, yeah. If you watched our semi-final coverage earlier, you'll see me and Ahmed hunkered down under an umbrella, but not. It was absolutely savage. It's been pretty late. And I just spotted Jakob Schubert, who's just walked off shot. I am so good at picking out the famous climbers. Got I spotted Jan Hoyer in the crowd earlier. Now Jakob. Just been told that lane A, that Yulia Kaplina was saying that there was something on one of the holds.
Oh.
Presumably, possibly some dirt. Could be I don't know, a stone that's flicked up. I'm not entirely sure, but there was certainly something that requires that the routes are clean. And you can see whether the official needs to be done before. Yeah, just had a team who came over, might have even heard my microphone, just telling us that we have some sort of jet hold, but only sure to be a little sun or a large piece of dirt. We know as soon as the route setting team have been up and had a look, and we can just see them off to our right, checking the holes now. In the meantime, you must know this route.
Yeah. If you especially the hole, like you're definitely gonna think. You're gonna think it's very from any other residue that's the walls. Yeah, if they're dirt or even like some rock, that could ruin somebody's run. You know, because not only are you gonna use your hands, you can put your foot on that same exact spot or something that could off.
And talk about learning is it climb it or some homework you can do to practice process? I'm thinking for the people that are going to start speed climbing as part of the Olympic push.
Yeah, no, there are definitely the videos that you can check out. The Russian team has very good beta when it comes to the to speed climbing, and just because they're very like average height when it comes to that, so they've got a very it's not strict or anything. You don't have to do it, but it is the most efficient, I would say, like for somebody like me. But then, you got somebody like Libor who has his own thing. He can reach a little further, kind of not necessarily go like slower, but be more dynamic, be more explosive in certain sections of the wall that others just can't, like myself. And you can also just see those like online, just to kind of give you an idea of like what might work best for you, and then obviously you're going to have to try it yourself in order to actually see if you can pull it off.
And how individual is your beta? Is it do the coaches try and prescribe, look, this is how we think we should do it?
Yes, absolutely. Depending on like height, how their dynamic ability, how like far they can jump, it'll be very different. They might ask you to try, to skip a hold and see how that fares for you. Maybe that could shave off like 0.2, like off your time, and that is enough. Obviously, that we saw earlier, like
well,
but 2/100ths of a second, like every 100th of a second counts. We had I had a joke with 2 speed climbers that I know very well in the States, and something we used to tell them, because they would always get anywhere between 2/100ths of a second to 1/100th of a second off between each other, and it was the same person would win every single time. So we would say, "Hey, what's the difference between you two?" And it'd be like, "What?" It's like 1/100th of a second. Got him every time.
Yeah. And the climber's back on the wall. Now Alexandra Rosinska, you think, is heading towards a straightforward victory. She actually made it slightly harder than she needed to. A few slips higher up.
And we didn't even get a sensor on that. She didn't touch it.
No, Svetlana must have been over.
Let's check that out. Let's see where exactly she touched the sensor. Yep, a little too low. A little too low and to the left. That's a heartbreaker right there. But either way, she wasn't going quite as fast. So.
Well, whatever the object was, it was blocking the hole. It's obviously been removed now.
Did we ever figure out what that was?
Certainly wasn't big enough that we saw it on our cameras. Don't forget #IFSCWC if you've got any questions for a bona fide speed climber alongside me this evening. In the meantime, we'll watch Claudia Bukchek against Elena Markusheva. It's a quick start from Bukchek, but Markusheva's already reining her in. I think Bukchek's got a narrow lead. Which she
goodness. Oh!
Yeah, she was just in the lead, but Markusheva just slipped near the top, trying to make up that gap. Let's have a look at the finish. You can see the slip from Markusheva. There it was. Just going up with the left hand. She launched off the left foot.
Couldn't quite get enough of it, slipped off. Wow. Just to see that, you have to focus, make sure every bit of your beta stays consistent and actually going to hit it. Yeah.
So Anouk Jaubert, here she is, closest to your camera. On the left now as we look at it. Aiming to become the first woman to win 3 Speed World Cups in a row. She takes on Anna Brozek in the round of 8. And again, Jaubert twitches just before setting off. But it seems to reward her. She's got a good start. Brozek is reining her in though. This is going to be very tight. They are tied up.
I'm sorry, did that just happen twice in one day? Did that just happen? Did that just happen twice in one day? I think it just did.
I think it just I think that is lightning striking
wow.
twice, as the saying goes. That is extraordinary. And
Anouk's just saying, hey.
Hey, don't blame me.
Yeah, let's just do it again.
So they'll have a short rest. Now, this is not a situation we come up against very often. So what the judges will do here, I'm not entirely sure, because if they run this at the
instant replay, right?
Yeah, if they run this immediately before the next women's round, that puts whoever wins at a huge disadvantage going into the semi-finals.
That is correct.
I wonder if they'll run it halfway through this men's run. The judges have got a bit of thinking to do here.
I'm sure they didn't think it would happen twice.
No. So back out, Marcin Zienski, Gil Morrow. Marcin Zienski, of course, going for 3 World Cup wins in a row. He'd join a very elite group if he was to manage that. Xixin Xiong of China and Stanislav Kokorin of Russia have won 3 in a year. Can Zienski join that very elite club? It's like the 5 Tour de France wins. Very elite. And he's off to a blazing start, as we're used to seeing. That scurrying style of his, no problem.
Very good run out of Marcin.
So whatever the obstruction was on that hold, it's obviously well and truly gone. We've had the full round now. The rest of the women and the first men's race in this round of 8. The next one will be Alexandra Shikov, against Leonardo Gontero. Gontero, of course, had a dead heat with Arseny Bogomolov. Then they reran it, and Gontero won by 2/100ths of a second.
Lightning couldn't possibly strike 3 times, could it?
Shikov on the left. Montero, who's already climbed twice, as I say. We had a dead heat in the men's competition, and extraordinarily, we've had another one in the women's.
And false start.
False start from Shikov. Remember that a false start doesn't mean that you go before the beeper sounds. It means that you react in less than 1/10 of a second, 0.1 of a second. That's deemed to be the minimum reaction time that's possible for a human being to have. That's the same across pretty much every sport, I believe. Olympic sports, 100 meters, 200 meters, it'll be the same.
That's right.
It's 0.1 of a second. So that is a universally accepted theory. Shikov will have to be careful, but he's still got a good start. But Gontero absolutely parrying.
All right.
So Gontero this time,
we'll take it.
He wins by a mile by his standards, 3/100ths. Well, let's have a look at what 3/100ths looks like. That's what it looks like.
Oh wow, bit better.
He's improved his winning margin by 50%.
Wow. I'm impressed that Gontero is able to keep it together under all that pressure.
Now then, this is a race of
and
powerhouses of the sport.
Yeah, I'm not sure if everybody's noticing too. As you can see, like everybody's got a different placement with their hands as well on the 2 start holds. So some people will put them on the little cups over to the left, so the little kind of happen, or if you're a little maybe you feel a little better putting your left hand over in the first jug and then right hand where Libor has his placed.
Both these climbers are tall and both of them are world class. One of them is going to be knocked out here though, and this is close as expected. I think Hirosa's going to...
And it's Libor. Oh, it will.
I think
Hirosa call technical.
Hirosa had a small lead going into the upper section, but Daniel Bollier not happy with some element of the rope system or the belaying. It'd be interesting to see that in slow motion.
See if there was a tug or anything.
Of course, the climbers are moving so quickly and they've got such a practice routine to get through that any variation in the belaying or the speed of the rope being taken in, very difficult to live with. So just to confirm that the women's race, it was... So we'll just have another look at this.
Yes.
Yeah, that is a valid point from Daniel Bollier.
That is right. It is getting very much in his way. He can definitely call technical on that.
I think there's going to be an appeal. You can see there the rope was looped around his left wrist, and as his hand went up, he was definitely impeded by the movement of the rope. There was far too much slack, and it was taken in just at the wrong moment as he needed his left hand. I think there's going to be an appeal.
I think he'll get that.
And we'll see. This is quite the eventful Speed World Cup.
Yeah.
2 ties, technical incidents, objects on the hold. We'll watch this race, and then I'll explain about the women's race. So Basamo Mawem on the left, Quinton Nambo on the right, and Nambo slips early on. And Mawem, no problem, 5 seconds this evening. Just and a broke now after this men's round of 8. That was in order to give the competitors 5 minutes of rest. If there is another here they are already, Anu Joubert on the left there.
I'm sure it'll be close.
If there is another tie, then count back to the previous round counts. So your time in the previous round counts, which goes to show that even in the round of 16, you've got to record a pretty respectable time, even if you think you can easily win your race. So, for the second time in this round of 8, you've got Anna Joubert against Anna Brozak. And it's shown with the she looks quite low now.
I believe
Well, she just had a minor slip herself, but Brozak had a bigger one near the top.
That is right. She is one step closer to that third World Cup victory.
It would be absolutely extraordinary if she looked about something. Perhaps it's just fatigue. So we've got a question from Extreme Sports on Twitter.
Yeah.
And she, you'll have to excuse me, Extreme. Yes, excuse me, Extreme Sports, you'll have to excuse me, I don't know if you're a he or a she. Either way, they would like to know how do route setters make sure that the routes are exactly the same when they set the speed wall?
So the wall that they have right there, it is on a very specific grid. As you can see, like each panel has like the bolt holes exactly like to like the exactly like as long as match bolts to or the holes to the other the other panels, then there shouldn't be like much difference. There, a millimeter or less than that is not nobody's going to really notice like that. But they do make it very, very like specific and try and get it as close as possible.
And during the practice round, do the climbers give feedback on the route, or do you find that at this level, by the time you get there, it's just ready and it's always perfect?
At the World Cup level, it's usually perfect. There's really not much room for error, and they always like double, triple check, before they start doing anything. Like I said earlier, I thought that there might be a spinner, but it just turns out there was like dirt in the hold. But like I said, like that would be really surprising if there was a spinner, just because they are double, triple checking the route and making sure it's perfect. That's. I mean, I wouldn't expect to see that.
We've had quite the World Cup so far here. We've had 2 tied races, one in the men's, one in the women's. We've had an object sitting on one of the holes, an unidentified non-flying object sitting on the holes. And we've had a technical incident involving Daniel Boldyrev. We don't yet know the outcome of that, although we believe there's going to be a break and a possible rerun of that race, and that would look to be the case in the fact that Libor Harosa, you see him there, who was involved with that race, and Daniel Boldyrev is warming up to come back out onto wall B. I have to say I do agree with Daniel Boldyrev. That did look as if he was seriously impeded when he was going up with his left hand.
I would have to agree with him as well.
He flagged it straight away. I don't think the belays were in too much doubt what he thought about that. Just an interesting bit of. If you can see there, green underneath, left shirt, the right hand yellow shirt. He's gone. Our belaying team is other than Christian Brenner, a former lead himself. Enough, he's back. He's again one of our readers. Christian, you might remember co-commentary in glass. There he is in Brenner, as I say. No slouch climb himself, former World Cup winner and former rival of one of our route setters. So the race will be rerun. Daniel Boldyrev on the left, Libor Harosa on the right.
Let's see if we can get through this without any problems this time.
So this is the 3rd rerun of a race we've had in this speed final. It's been extraordinary. And it's a good start for both of them. If anything, Boldyrev got away slightly better, but Harosa, I think, is reining him in.
And Boldyrev takes it.
Libor just slipped
at the very end there.
In the top. He knows he made a mistake there. He's fuming with himself. As I say, Libor was carrying a small tricep injury. I don't think it was related in any way.
No, we were talking in the back a little earlier during qualifiers, and he did mention that he was injured and that he's hasn't been climbing or training for the past like 8 days. So consistency is it's key. You can lose your speed and lose your intuition on the wall. If you take too much time off. So especially at this level, when hundredths of a second, it's all the difference.
We can see there there's a good shot of the lower part of the wall. You can see the starting pads that the climbers use. What are the restrictions on where they're placed? Can you place that wherever you like as long as the lead reaches?
That is right. Yeah.
What's the recommended starting position? You were talking about earlier. You can watch videos to give you in theory, the most efficient method of climbing the route. Where would you suggest placing that? Is it directly under the first handhold?
I would say it's just it is wherever you're most comfortable. So as you can see, you can see the athletes over here, depending on their height or depending just on whether they feel comfortable having it directly underneath that first foothold, or maybe a little bit further back. I prefer it to be a little bit further back, so I get a little bit more momentum going over to the left, so I can skip the second foothold and go over to the third straight away. Some don't really subscribe to that, and they'd rather go more vertically, and they use that second foothold, and it's really whatever gets you up the wall fastest. So,
just to recap, we have got a short break here. I almost lost track of when the break was coming in amongst all the reruns. We've had no less than 3 reruns, 2 of them down to dead heats, and 1 of them down to a technical incident involving Daniel Boldyrev, where he went up to reach with his left hand and the rope impeded him because the belayers hadn't taken the slack in fast enough. So no less than 3 reruns. It's been quite the complicated World Cup. But while we do have a quick pause, I'll just remind you of the overall standings for 2016 in the IFSC Speed World Cups. Leading the way so far, Marcin Zienski. He's on 320 points. In second, Libor Rosa, 271. Reza Ali Porshena Zandifar is on 248 in third place. Reza is not here today. Dmitry Timofeev, he's in fourth place with 241. Stanislav Kokorin, 215, and on 208 points, Daniel Boldyrev, who we've already seen climbing tonight, and we've already seen have a successful appeal made against the belaying. In the women's competition, Anouk Jobert going for an extraordinary 3 wins in a row. She leads the way, 291 points. Yulia Kaplina trails her on 286. In third place, Alexandra Rudzinska on 220. Anna Tsiganova is on 210. In fourth place, Claudia Bukcek, fifth, 209 points. And down in sixth, Alla Marenic on 167. There's the Arco crowd, the arena beginning to fill up. Just in the final, and of course, Lee Wood. There in the shirt, owns a hotel in town. Always good to spot familiar faces in the crowd. And next up, I believe we'll have the women's semi-final. Remember that we will have the semi-final. The 2 winners of the semi-finals will contest what we call the big final in speed climbing. That's for first and second in the World Cup. And then the runners-up of the semi-final will compete in what we call the small final. It's essentially the 3rd, 4th playoff. In speed climbing, they call it the small final. So this is the semi-final stage.
It's looking like they're about to go underway here.
We're just going to have a presentation of the athletes to the crowd. They've already climbed, but the crowd is beginning to fill up, so the athletes who are taking part in the semi-final will be introduced. One or 2 choreography issues. That's Claudia Bukcek.
Still having fun.
In the middle now, she was on the
loving
left.
it.
Alexandra Rudzinska, and you're there on the right.
A little tired in there. I guess we need adoration from our fans here.
The Italian crowd. Here's Marcin Zienski. Such a relaxed guy. He's always smiling.
we have over there. There we go.
In between rounds, Martin's just stuck his jeans on, just relaxing. You wouldn't believe he's in a World Cup semi-final.
That's my style right there.
And there's Leonardo Giantero, Italian climber. Daniel Bolirev originally lost to Libor Rosa in the round of 8, but reran the race after a successful technical appeal. And there's Bassam Mawem. So they will be our 8 athletes contesting the semi-finals of this IFSC Speed World Cup here in Arco.
You are going to see that often, speed climbers getting presented out like that. So yeah, but you're right. The crowd is starting to fill up, and gives you a little preview of what the Olympics might be like. Yeah.
See that beautiful evening here in Arco. Still warm though, so it doesn't really seem to cool down much at night. Air conditioning, or at least absolutely. I wouldn't say it's cooler than it was in the shade earlier on today. How much does temperature affect speed climbing? We see it affect bouldering and lead climbing. What effect does it have on speed?
Oh, well, when it's outside like this, it would, yeah, absolutely. The humidity especially, just like any other hold that you'd get on, you don't want to slip off. You don't want to sweat, through your palms or anything. So, if you're sweating and you get to that vital pinch, or you get to a slopey section on the speed route, you could pie it off. No time for sweating. No.
Athleticism in terms of it's your restart.
Yeah, I would. Especially when you come to a World Cup level like this, these holds are, brand new for the most part. They've been clean. They're very porous. If you are going to slip, it's either going to be, for a technical reason, the belaying, or, your hands aren't going to be quite right. Your footing will be off. And in those cases, it is what it is, and you can't go back.
You see our starting judge just getting ready there with his little beeper to signify when the climbers can get going. So it seems like one comes to the exception on the left, Alexandra Zinska. Start. Koplina was quite sluggish out of the blocks.
She's catching her up,
and building a lead as well.
Boom.
Yulia Koplina, she'll be into the big final.
It just goes to show you that the entire route is what matters. So your start can be slow, but as long as you know that and are consistent and just pick it up as you go, can change just like that.
Yulia Koplina, of course, she's currently 2nd overall in the standings for 2016. She already won a couple of World Cups this year. Won in Chongqing, she won in Nanjing, steamed into an early lead, but had a terrible weekend in Chamonix, 25th, and then back to 2nd in Villars. Were it not for Anouk Gilbert, currently on the right, Koplina would be having the season of her life. As it is, Gilbert is leading the way overall. Can she make it 3 wins in a row? She's off to a good start in this one, but she's slowed in the middle section. This is going to be very tight, but I think Gilbert is going to just about get it. But check into the clock. So Gilbert.
I think we're going to see it.
So the wins semi-final out of the way. And we move on to the men's. Just remember, the winner of this will go into what we call the big final. That's the first, second, the main final. And the runner-up will go into what we call the small final, the third, fourth playoffs.
This should be an interesting one right here, Marcin versus Leonardo. Both very quick.
Contrasting styles. Marcin Zienski, you won't believe this, about literally 30 seconds ago ran past our commentary box. He doesn't seem to get too stressed about the fact he's about to be in a World Cup semi-final. And with a start
Very
like that,
good
you
start.
can see why. No,
Jensen is going to take it, yes.
5.82. Marcin Zienski was like a bullet then. As I say,
He's just getting faster.
30 seconds before that race, I don't exaggerate, he
ran past us.
Ran past us. I don't know if he'd been to the loo or if he'd just been... but he wasn't mentally prepared, he wasn't listening to a song. So another...
impressive run.
Another battle of tall climbers. Daniel Boldyrev, current world record holder, takes some swim. Basser currently down in 7th overall this year for 2016. He'll move up, that's for sure. Already guaranteed his best.
And we've got a false start there.
Already guaranteed his best result this year, Basser Marwem. Start there. Again, but my just all start last.
We want start per round. If you set for the buzzer, you're very unpleasant and a little soul crushing. But you do have. Oh my!
Some sort of issue there for Daniel Boldyrev. See what comes of this.
Yeah, and so that was a little odd.
I would suspect Basser Marwem might have room for complaint there because Daniel Boldyrev put his arm up to suggest that there was a problem. The buzzer went, and he went.
With a direct line of sight like to Boldyrev like that, I can see how Basser would assume that there was a problem.
It's incident to incident this week in the Speed World Cup. Basser
Yeah, wow.
obviously accepting the result. Be interesting to see that start again. It looked as if he flagged something he wasn't happy with. Well, Daniel Boldyrev involved in various controversies today.
I wonder what's going on there. He's still out here.
Yeah, we can confirm he's just off shot. There he is, Daniel Boldyrev.
Interesting day.
He's thinking, well, there was a problem, but actually I won, so I'll just forget it if it's okay with all you guys.
I've already forgotten about it. Yeah.
Yeah, he's not bothered. I'm just hanging around, just minding my own business. Whatever the incident was, we might hear more about that. But it looks as if both him and Basser Marwem have disappeared back inside.
Slight pause. Yeah, here we
Let's
go.
have a look. So he flags
So
something and then gets a flying start.
I'd like to see what
What does Basser do? Does he look at him? He must see
he
that.
does.
He does.
He looks right at him.
Now, whatever Daniel Boldyrev has flagged there, surely that's going to be subject to a technical appeal.
Yeah, I would call that if I were Basser.
The technical team here at the IFSC being kept very busy.
Yeah.
Ironically, we were saying earlier
I've never seen anything like this.
Well, we were saying during the semi-finals of the league competition, speed's quite a simple discipline. It's just first to the top.
There's so many. Everything that could possibly happen has happened so far. It's keeping me on my toes here.
Theoretically, it is a simple discipline, first to the top, but we've had all sorts going on, from technical appeals, objects on the hold, races tied, 2.
Yeah, just whatever that was.
Whatever that was, Daniel
Whatever
Boldyrev.
that was, I don't even...
Surely not gamesmanship from Daniel Boldyrev. Surely I certainly give him the benefit of the doubt that he wasn't trying to gain an advantage there, but he definitely gained one. We saw a replay at the start.
Exactly.
Basser Marwem looked straight at him.
A complete distraction.
Well, we shall see the technical team earning their money here this evening, I think it'd be fair to say. The ever-growing Arco crowd.
I'd want to see it again, honestly.
Yeah, that would be interesting. Perhaps we could see again that start with Boldyrev and Mawem. Let's see if we can get the replay again. Here it is. So, let's see what happens.
I mean, I didn't see a problem with anything.
I wonder if there was a noise or something, but watch Bassa Mawem on the right of your screen. So Daniel Boldyrev flags a problem. Here we go. He'll move his right arm. There we go.
Up, and then look at Bassa, looking right at him, and there he goes.
By which time Daniel Boldyrev had at least a meter lead, which over 15 is an enormous head start.
And what's crazy is Bassa is catching up to him by the end of it.
I think Bassa could quite rightly claim he would have won that race were it not for
he would at least be much closer.
Another fellow member of Team USA. Can you see it?
But yeah, that's Noah. That's good call.
We just had one of our technical team again. You might have heard it through my microphone. Daniel Boldyrev, he flagged to say that he wasn't ready, so when he lifted his arm that means I'm not ready, and then the beat went and Boldyrev went anyway, and as I say, won the race and was probably quite happy to leave it there, but obviously Bassa Mawem did not feel the same.
I think that was a good call.
I think that is a good call. So there'll be a rerun, we're told, in 3 minutes time. Obviously there is a minimum rest period that the climbers need, although as Ahmed Torre, USA athlete, has already told me, the climbers can do back-to-back runs. So yeah, quite the World Cup here. We've had 2 ties, an object on the hold, and 2 technical incidents. We haven't even got to the finals yet, but
amazing.
Thus far, undoubtedly the most eventful World Cup we've had in any discipline so far.
Yeah.
Are we going to get you back in the future, or have we put you off with the?
Yeah. No, this is the most exciting speed. This is the most exciting speed final I've ever seen. I've never seen anything like this ever.
It's worth
any World Cup, any USA climbing event, nothing. Yeah.
It's worth remembering, by the way, that Anouk Joubert and Marcin Zienski are both going for 3 World Cup wins in a row. That's not been done by any woman before. And only 2 men previously have won 3 Speed World Cups in 1 year. So
I can only imagine what's going through her mind right now with all this going on.
Well, Anouk Joubert, of course, is one of the people that was involved in a dead heat.
Right.
We've seen today. So that race, it's been in the small final this evening in a dead heat. But I'm next. I think we're going to have a final here at 8 p.m. local time. But both things are at 7 already. We'll see. We've got a lot of action to get through first.
Wow.
What are your plans then before Paris? We talked briefly in the Leeds semi-finals to our speed climbing fans who weren't watching that. Just tell us what you're up to over the next few weeks.
So I'll actually be flying back to Paris tomorrow, and hopefully I can get over to, I've heard rumor that there's a speed gym in France, so hoping to kind of hunt that down and get some training in for that. I certainly need it, especially with the 15 meter. Like I was saying earlier, we mostly have 10 meter walls. That is changing rapidly, but for the moment right now we have mostly 10 meter walls, and that is what we practice on, and then we'll add an additional section where we can do the middle 5 meters and the last 5 meters. So it does get a little bit tricky once we get to that final, the first 10. The transition becomes a little bit trickier for us. But hopefully if I get some training in on some 15s, we can see my time drop and see what happens in Percy.
Now we have the rerun of the race. As Boldyrev gets a better start once again. This will be very tight though.
Oh, and Boldyrev takes it by 3 hundredths of a second. Wow. All right.
Well, there we go. That was the rerun, of the semi-final between Daniel Boldyrev and Bassa Mawem, where Daniel Boldyrev raised his hand to say, "I'm not ready." but then went anyway and won the race.
No problems on that one though, and he's still claimed victory, so.
Yep, so.
All good there.
Just the 4 races for Daniel Bouldering so far, 2 of which have involved reruns for technical incidents, so just another day at the office.
Oh yeah, that's normal. It's totally normal. I'm loving Alexandra's Cookie Monster chalk bag there.
Yeah, unfortunately our graphic just obscuring it. Great shot back. So this is the women's small final. This for 3rd place here in Arco in the IFSC Speed World Cup.
Oh, and we've got a close one here.
This is very tight. Poland against Poland. Brzezinska against Bukchuk. I think Bukchuk got
Claudia
that. She did.
That, yes.
1/10 of a second in it. So Claudia Bukchuk, there she is, looking very happy with that result, as well she might do. She takes 3rd place. Remember, the podium ceremony will follow the podium ceremony for the lead competition. So Leonardo Giuntero, one of the climbers involved in the dead heat today. I was in the very first race in Arseny Bogomolov. He won the rerun by 2/100ths of a second. And then when he raced Alexander Shikov in the next round, in the round of 8, he won by 3/100ths of a second. So he's been involved in some pretty tight races. He'll take
2 very different styles here too.
Yeah. He'll take on Bassam Mawem, who's also been involved in a few incidents himself this evening. And it's a good start from Gonzalo, but Mawem seems to have the speed advantage in the middle 3rd, and he's going to take this. He is by 9/100ths of a second. Bassam Mawem, comfortably his best result of 2016, 3rd place for him. Yeah, just to recap, extremely consistent season, 6th in Chongqing for Bassa, 5th in Nanjing, 15th in Chamonix, and then 5th in Villars, so first time on the podium this year. A couple of podiums, 3 podiums, excuse me. So
probably one of the most consistent speed climbers I've actually ever seen.
He's extraordinarily consistent. So, this is the race we've been waiting for. Can Anouk Jobert do it? Just to remind you, no woman has ever won 3 IFSC Speed World Cups in a row. Anouk Jobert on the right there. It's less than 20 seconds potentially from achieving that. She has to beat Yulia Kaplina. And she gets a much better start.
Yeah,
and
she can keep it together. There we go.
Anouk Jobert is almost certainly going to make history here. She does.
It. 3 Speed World Cups in a row. Fantastic.
That is incredible from Anouk Jobert. 3 in a row.
Understandably excited.
She's also had a dead heat. She's had to wait much longer than she would have expected to climb. This World Cup has taken much longer than past Speed World Cups.
Really earned it today.
And she really did earn it. Yulia Kaplina, we mentioned it earlier. Yulia currently 2nd in the overall standings. Was in a very healthy lead after 2 events. But Anouk Jobert has come back, and how? 3 wins in a row.
Once again, we have 2 different styles out of Marcin and.
So here's Marcin Zienski closest to the camera. Can he make it 3 in a row? 1 in Chamonix, 1 in Villars, 3rd in Nanjing, 4th in Chongqing. Incredible season so far.
They also have just very different personalities as well. I've noticed Boldarev is very seems a little more serious than Marcin. Marcin seems a little bit more relaxed.
Well, Marcin's obviously taking this one a bit more seriously because he didn't run past us 30 seconds before
he had
to take the stage. But thought there was any pressure, but if he can win this against the current world record, it'll be 3 in a row.
That's
Incredible
so
start.
far.
Boldy rating him.
Happy with that. Wow.
Win 3 IFSC Speed World Cups in a row. I don't think I've ever seen anything like this in competition climbing.
They will certainly be celebrating tonight.
Let alone speed climbing. He gives Christian Brenner, the former IFSC competitor, now IFSC B-layer, a big hug. Boldy Rev a handshake. A very happy man. Well, the relaxed approach obviously
Love that
works for
guy.
Marcin.
Yeah.
So just to confirm the top 3 for you today. Yeah, just to confirm the top 3 for you today. Anouk Jobert wins. That is the 3rd World Cup in a row she's won. That's the first time any woman has ever done that. She beat Yulia Kaplina into 2nd place and Claudia Bukcek into 3rd in the men's competition. Marcin Zienski, also wins 3 IFSC Speed World Cups in a row.
So impressive.
Daniel Boldyrev takes 2nd and Bassa Marwem takes 3rd. I know.
This was a very exciting speed final. I've never seen anything like today.
Ahmed Torre, thank you very much for your help this evening. That is comfortably the most eventful speed final I've ever seen.
Yeah,
thank you for help with the lead semi-finals.
No problem.
We will be back very shortly with the lead finals in around 20 minutes time. We'll see you then.